A Ukrainian LGBTQ couple have told of their decision to volunteer for Ukraine's territorial defense force to stop Russia destroying our culture. Volunteer fighters Oleksandr Zhuhan and Antonina Romanova, both 37, spent 2 days sheltering as Russian tanks rolled across the border on February 24, before they decided to take action. I just remember that at a certain point it became obvious that we only had 3 options: either hide in a bomb shelter, run away and escape, or join the territorial defense volunteers. We chose the third option, said Romanova, who was born a biological male but uses she/her pronouns. The practice harks back to the 2014 conflict when Russia invaded Crimea, when lots of people said there are no gay people in the army, Zhuhan said. So, the LGBTQ community chose the unicorn because it is like a fantastic non-existent creature. But after a brief break they headed back to the front line last week to begin their second 3-month combat tour. Zhuhan and Romanova, who met through their theater work, moved to the Ukrainian capital in 2014 to escape potential persecution when Putin annexed the peninsula in 2014. Neither was trained in the use of weapons but, after spending a couple of days hiding in their bathroom at the start of the war, decided they had to do more. For Zhuhan and Romanova, their vocation gives them an added sense of responsibility. What Russia does is, they don't just take our territories and kill our people. They want to destroy our culture and we can't allow this to happen, Zhuhan said. They said their first 3-month tour of duty around Mykolaiv in southern Ukraine, about 80 miles from the port city of Odessa, changed their lives. Zhuhan contracted pneumonia and the group experienced frontline combat for the first time, but the couple were happy to find their fellow fighters accepted them without question. There was no aggression, no bullying. It was a little unusual for the others, Romanova said. But, over time, people started calling me Antonina, some even used my she pronoun. There was much backslapping as they joined their new unit at Kyiv Central Station last week in preparation for a second 3-month stint on the front lines. The couple knew some of the members of their new team, but said they had not yet the commanders of the unit. I'm a little worried about that, Zhuhan said. I know that in some units, the rules are more strict. It wasn't like that in our first unit. His unease was quickly dispelled when one commander declared he would refuse to tolerate homophobia, while a more senior officer said the only important thing on the front line is to be a good fighter. But one overriding fear, voiced back in their apartment, remains. The thing I'm worried about is that in case I get killed during this war, they won't allow Antonina to bury me the way I want to be buried, Zhuhan said. They'd rather let my my mum bury me with a priest reading silly prayers. But I am an atheist and I don't want that. Though Ukrainian officials this morning reported Russia had managed to consolidate its recent advances. Russian troops this morning had reportedly taken control of much of the industrial center of Severodonetsk, the last remaining urban center in the Luhansk region that was still held by Ukrainian forces. If Russia captures the rest of Severodonetsk and its smaller twin Lysychansk on the higher west bank of the Siversky Donets River, it will essentially hold all of Luhansk, which together with the Donetsk region constitutes the Donbas. The city has now been largely reduced to rubble, with nearly all critical infrastructure destroyed and 60% of residential property damaged beyond repair, Regional Governor Serhiy Haidai said on Tuesday. Russian shelling has made it impossible to deliver aid or evacuate people, he added, before warning residents of the city not to leave bomb shelters due to what he said was a Russian airstrike on a nitric acid tank. Britain's Ministry of Defense also said in its latest intelligence bulletin that Russian forces including Chechen fighters now controlled more than half of Severodonetsk after 2 days of intense street fighting. Jan Egeland, Secretary-General of the Norwegian Refugee Council aid agency which had long operated out of Severodonetsk, said he was horrified by its destruction. Up to 12,000 civilians remain caught in crossfire, without sufficient access to water, food, medicine or electricity, the former UN Humanitarian Affairs Chief said. The near-constant bombardment is forcing civilians to seek refuge in bomb shelters and basements, with only few precious opportunities for those trying to escape. We call on parties to the conflict to immediately allow all humanitarian organizations to access Severodonetsk with life-saving assistance and to enable safe evacuations of civilians who wish to leave the city.